Hello and welcome back to Spires of Magic, Rise of Spider-Man. We're going to do chapter 29 and 30 today. It's all about Spidey fighting Sombra, while Twilight's busy doing magical mystery cure. Because heaven forbid we have Spider-Man interact with any of the show plots. You know, there have been plenty of fics that take the show plots and make it their own. This is not one of them. 23 days remain. Thank you for reminding me that this thing has been stalling. Remnants of the Evil King, Parts 1 and 2. When Princess Celestia said his departure would be immediate, it was quite a literal term, as Pierre was already seated on the next available train headed for the Crystal Empire within the hour. The length of the trip was an estimated 2 hours at most, much shorter than a 3-day journey to Manhattan. Although Pierre was blessed with the privilege of traveling first class for a second time, he did not revel in the perks therein, choosing instead to read through the portfolio of documents regarding King Sombra that was delivered to him by Princess Celestia before his departure. In a sense, the unicorn chose to do his homework over anything remotely fun. Pierre shrugged. That much would be never changed. Hazel eyes skimmed through each page, from Sombra's origin to his recent defeat. The former king of the Crystal Empire was just a normal unicorn. After using dark magic extensively, he was corrupted, power having turned him into a power-hungry tyrant. Like a discord, Princess Celestia and Princess Luna were forced to seal away Sombra with the elements of harmony, leaving him as little more than a disembodied mass of rage and shadows. It was never confirmed that Celestia and Luna hit him with the elements of harmony. All we saw was that they rainbow blasted him. For all we know, it wasn't the elements of harmony that they hit him with. They wanted Sucker dead. But then again, that's part of my headcanon. Pierre saw in the paperwork that Sombra somehow regained his physical form during his return. It was quite clear he was far more powerful in his shadow form. Then again, I'm the guy who says that Sombra had a calling of unicorns and Pegasi within the Crystal Empire. That's why we never see a Crystal Pegasi or Crystal Unicorns. But what can I say? I'm a sick mofo. Pierre shifted his gaze to his chest, where a small light glowed brightly before seeping back into his coat. Princess Celestia told him that Sombra's powers of corruption were great, as he made certain to cast a resistant spell on Pierre, giving him as much protection as he could. However, it would not serve as an absolute defense, as Sombra could still inflict physical harm on his being. Pierre accepted it, taking whatever advantage he could get. Now he had a means to attack. The elements of harmony were out of the questions, as the wielders had their own concerns to deal with back at Ponyville. A true friend is the one you need. But there was hope in the form of the Crystal Heart, an instrument of love, hope, and protection. Just 2 weeks before Pierre fell into Equestria, Twilight and Spike were able to find the lost Crystal Heart, all the while resisting Sombra's powers of corruption. With its magic, Sombra had been expelled from the Crystal Empire, and with any luck, it could help it doing so for a second time. Expel nothing to do with Kablooey! Also, now we have a timeline, but the way everything was working in the previous few chapters when we saw them, they acted like season 3 didn't happen. Can I have a retcon? The stallion paused, remembering the Crystal Heart served as a shield for the Empire. The reports read that Sombra was spotted in a temple outside of the Empire. This meant Pierre couldn't risk moving the crystal without endangering the Empire's inhabitants. After reading through all the files several times, the stallion reached under his seat, retrieved his backpack, and swiftly placed the portfolio alongside his costume, making sure no pony could steal a peek. He rolled his eyes. Pierre had several ideas racing around his brain, but one kept pushing itself to the front. Perhaps out of instinct, Pierre's hoof tapped lightly against his horn, his body lending a hint to his mind, but the stallion shook his head. Despite the fact that it kept pushing itself to the forefront of his mind, there's no way that idea could work. He could not perform simple magic without suffering severe migraines. If he were to try anything as advanced as that, especially on something as powerful as the Crystal Heart, Pierre's skull might split in two. Part of himself that always seemed to argue with him everything reminded him of his impending encounter with a certain pink alicorn, the freaking goddess of love. Pierre slowly, resisting the urge to face her for forgetting something so obvious. Candace was the goddess of love, and if there were any pony in Equestria that could replicate the specific elements of the Crystal Heart, it was her. Finding Sombra in a shadow form would be difficult on its own merits. Reminiscences of the days Pierre had to compact the abstract body of Sandman. However, with every strength came a weakness. I'm sorry, a certain rock song came into my mind, and Parker already had a plan specifically for Sombra. He only hoped Keenan's and Shining Armor would support him in his resolve.
Next stop, Crystal Empire!
A staggered voice called out. Pierre shifted his gaze to the direction of the intercom.
Repeat, next stop, Crystal Empire!
Every pony roused at the sound of the voice, some walking from a slumber and others stretching their limbs in anticipation. Pierre instead slid his backpack over his shoulders. A sparkle from the outside caught his eye, prompting his dying to lean over to the window next to his seat. His heels worked subconsciously, tightening his straps of his backpack, while his eyes widened at the spectacle that quickly rose from the horizon. Even from a distance, Pierre could tell the Empire was condensed, with simple housing and rural village setting. What stood in the center was the difference from both locales. The Crystal Spire's size was startling, massing down several buildings in Manhattan. Yet a crystal exterior would make many marvel at its beauty and respect its namesake. This truly was the Crystal Empire.
Yes, the beauty that is the Crystal Empire. But in how many times did you have it invaded and a siege happen and fall?
At least 3. I was mean. A loud hissing sound echoed throughout the vicinity. The train began to slow to a halt as he neared the station. Pierre stole one final glance at the crystal tower that watched over the Empire before shifting his gaze to the air ponies throughout the train. He sat with smiles, oblivious to the danger that waited on the outskirts of their home. Pierre felt a burning sensation build in his chest, giving a confident smile to form on his face. Once the train came to a complete stop, Pierre nodded and trotted out the open doors with a simple vow in mind. He must save every pony, no matter what. Maybe I might be wrong with this story. Maybe we're going to get an awesome Cadence moment where she and Peter go face Sombra, and Cadence takes all the power of the Crystal Heart into her, absorbs the fairy and foundations, feels the love and compassion from both Peter and Shining and all of her people to become some sort of alicorn love god, and slices Sombra's head off with a sword. Please let that happen. Please. Keynes paced down the room with a sense of worry in her light violet irises. The dark image within the crystal ball remained still, but its mere existence was enough for the alicorn's nerves to stand on end. Sombra nearly took hold of the Crystal Empire a few months ago. There was a strong chance he would try again. The inside of her chest tightened, prompting Keynes to approach the crystal ball. Also, you pay attention to the viewing globe, only to find the darkness within spreading. Sombra's remnants were growing stronger. If he was to stop at the end of the day, the fallen trident would be back at full strength. For the sake of her kingdom and the world, Sombra needed to be stopped here and now. As if the fates heard her cries, the door to her throne room opened, its creaking echoing across the halls. Haynes turned, first spotting Shining Armor trotted in her direction. While the man was happy to see the return of her husband, evident by her welcoming smile, she was particularly ecstatic to see the stallion following close behind the prince. Considerably sorted and exciting by several lenses, Peter was quite unassuming with a slim build and slender nature. The Keynes knew better, for this pony was truly the Crystal Empire's greatest hope for survival. Once the door to the room closed, she greeted her husband back with a brief yet affectionate kiss, following with a respectful bow to Peter. In the name of the Crystal Empire, I thank you for coming, Spider-Man, she politely stated. It's nothing, but let's save the thanks for later, Peter said, frowning at the black mist that formed inside the crystal ball. Like after we take care of that? Good idea, Shining Armor certainly concurred, trying to have both ponies as he approached the table near the center of the room. His horn glowed, causing a scroll to magically levitate across the room. It eventually landed on the table, opening to reveal it was actually a map. Stallion placed his hoof over the landmark that was no doubt the Crystal Empire, before tracing a few inches into a small red X symbol. Our sources last spotted Sabra at an abandoned temple in the snowfield. Kansas used a suppressive spell to keep him from escaping, and any pony from entering the Empire. Pierre studied him out, taking a moment to share a glance with Kansas. I guess you'll open it for us when we get there? She nodded, causing Parker to point at the image within the crystal ball. So what happens if the Mistmaster fully recovers? Would you be able to keep him contained? We're not going to let him recover, Shining stated, drawing a long black scarf over to Pierre, as he graciously caught. Throwing a thick cap over his head, for the sake of shielding his ears, the prince slid his own scarf around his neck and saw a glare at the crystal ball. This is why we can't waste any time. Let's go! Shaking his head, Pierre threw his hoof out defensively. Wait, there's something I need to ask you. Swift arc of motion, Pierre removed his backpack from his shoulder, retrieved a portfolio from the main compartment. The image of the crystal heart was easy to find. It was left at the front of the documents inside. Shifting his hazel irises to the princess's, Pierre placed his hoof over the particular photo. Kids, is there a way you could make several replicas of this? Kids raised her brow at the suddenness of the question, as he eventually nodded, albeit hesitantly. I can, but they'll be quite small and won't have the same level of power as the crystal heart. Look at curiosity formed on the mayor's face. Why? Must have both Shining and King's surprise, Pierre's lips curled into a smile. I have an idea. Wait. Hold it. This isn't going to be those typical could possibly be a bad, cool fight, but because I hate the villain that I brought in, I'm going to instead insult him by having the characters one-shot him because I really don't like this character and I really think he sucks. Because I've had enough of that lately. I've had enough of that with Maiken. I've had enough of that with a couple of bad fanfics I had to sit through. So, if you please, let me know in advance and just skip it. Thank you. Both stallions traveled through the terrain, although the relentless wind made the turning quite difficult, worsened by the snow that fell in his wake. Shining led the way, wearing his hat, a pair of goggles, a scarf. The wearer conditions forced him to travel slowly. Considering how easy the temple could have been missed, Pierre followed closely behind, wearing a Spider-Man costume along with the scarf Shining provided. However, instead of his backpack he grew accustomed to carrying, Pierre now traveled with a knapsack strapped around his side. The contents inside were precious, necessary to deal with the danger they steadily approached. Spider-Man! Shining Armor called out, his voice struggling to breach the noise the wind brought. Fortunately, Pierre managed to hear his voice, choosing to close the distance between himself and Shining Armor instead of replying verbally. The taller stallion acknowledged to his compatriot with a brief glance. Hey, I know I've been pretty hard on you since we first met. I just want to take a moment to apologize and say thanks. Easily with Quicko's mouth, Pierre found himself too taken aback by Shining's sudden confession, replying with only a wide-eyed expression. The wind continued to blow, not allowing for the awkward silence between the both stallions to go unnoticed. Surprisingly, Shining simply nodded, as if silently communicated his understanding. I know it's out of left field, but I only acted the way I did because I was worried my sister was moving too fast. Just a few months ago, she wasn't interested in any pony in the slightest. Now she's head over heels in love and will fight every pony that has a problem with it. Vic, you start pointing out your own plot holes, you've got problems. Shining stopped in his tracks, using his hoof as a shield against the wind. When he peeked down to a smaller stallion, his stern, royal blue irises having clearly been behind his dark goggles. However, they softened, masked by the smile his mouth bore. My sister's never been happy or more sure of herself. So I wanted to say I'm sorry for thinking you were untrustworthy, and thanks for being there for Twilight. Despite the severe coldness and the wind the snow brought, Pierre felt a strange hint of warmth building in his chest, similar to the sensation he felt the day Ponyville's inhabitants embraced him, the night Princess Luna accepted him as a friend. Even now, the feeling of acceptance was alien to Pierre. On Earth, Spider-Man fought, bled, cried, and nearly died for acceptance. But he never received anything, despite the countless sacrifices. Yet, in Equestria, Pierre was accepted, embraced, and loved, even if it felt like he hadn't earned it personally. Shaking his head, Parker was once again grateful for his master's design to hide facial features. Otherwise, shining armor was seen him smiling ear to ear. Clearing his throat, Pierre waved his hoof dismissively. It's nothing. I totally understand what you were coming from. Big brothers look out for the little sisters. I get it. He shrugged. For what it's worth, I wouldn't have trusted me either. Shining raised his brow. Why? Is it because you're an alien from another world? Not really. Pierre tapped the side of his head, placed his hoof over the spire insignia on his chest. I wouldn't trust some pony who dresses like this in his spare time. Stallion's mouth formed a smile of his teeth, shining armor equivalent to uncontrollable laughter. While the air around him remained cold, from a physical standpoint, a sense of ease finally took hold, allowing the path of trust to fully open. Slowly and surely, Shiny began to understand why every pony held Pierre in such a high regard. However, before he could dive further into the subject, his horn glowed suddenly, forcing the stallion to react astutely. He held his hoof out, signaling for Spider-Man to cease his movements as well. Hold on! We've breached the barrier, Shining Armor said, running his hoof against a seemingly invisible wall. How can you tell? Spider-Man, uncertain, took a step forward with his hoof extended, and immediately came to contact with a solid object, raising all doubts the hero may have had. Brushing the snow from his mane, Pierre tilted his head to the side. Okay, never mind. Hello Kitty's know to let us through. Don't worry, she already knows. Shining confidently stated, moments before an array of blue energy gathered in the shape of a rectangle, forming a makeshift door. Wow. Long distance. Oh, and, Keans isn't on this mission. Why? Oh, I mean, I know that in canon, the reason would be Keans had to rule over the Empire. But considering what this fic has been doing to his female protagonists lately, that excuse is not working right now. The spell remained in place, prompting both stallions to growl through the magical energy. Once within the field, the door disappeared. Due to the containment aura, the wind of the blizzard could no longer be felt. While the temperature inside the force field was still cold enough to contain the snow to melt before the spell was cast, it certainly was more tolerable without the chill of the wind. Shiny nodded. Let's hurry. I don't know how long cans can hold the field. The path ahead was clear. The temple remained in their sights, its foundation aids evident by the crack of masonry and fragile exterior. The temple's size was respectful, smaller in comparison to Camelot Castle, yet large enough to fill the foundation of Ponyville. Despite the blanket of snow covering its body, its jet black details could not be hidden. Spider-Man frightened in his straps of his knapsack and shook his head disapprovingly. Why is it that bad guys always choose the darkest, most depressing places to hide out? Doesn't the scream villains are us? Ignoring his banter, Shining slowly approached the temple with caution at each step. Spider-Man followed, shifting his gaze around his surroundings. Meanwhile, several black tendrils escaped from the temple, diving into the snow to conceal their whereabouts. As they slid through the frozen terrain, approaching the outsiders, a commanding source stepped through the entrance of the temple. The silver armor he wore was heavy. For each step he took sent tremors to the ground. His wearer was strong, gifted with a bulky physique that matched his shining armors. His piercing crimson gaze was venomous, along with a fanged smile on his features. Once the being stepped from the shadows, allowing the light of day to approach his presence, Shining paused, his eyes widening at the black stallion to approach. Sombra! He growled, causing Spider-Man to stumble to a stop. His smile disappeared, a wicked scowl taking its place. That's King Sombra, freeloader. What right does a fake prince have to speak down to his superior? Spider-Man exhaled. Great, another bad guy with superiority complex. Like I haven't seen enough of those. Sombra, you know why we're here. Shining Armor took a few steps forward, keeping his ironclad gaze centered on his enemy. By equestrian law, you are under arrest for crimes against ponykind. Will you surrender without incident, or will you resist? Spider-Man prepared to join his friend's side, but his senses blared, warning him of imminent danger. He searched around, tilting his head at the sight of 4 small tendrils that surrounded his position. Sombra scoffed, before his eyes glowed brightly, causing his tendrils to erupt from the ground. Shining shot back, now again to the danger that surrounded his friend. But once he turned to face Sombra, the black stallion raised his hoof and brought it down, peeling the tendrils to do the same. At that moment, all 4 tendrils swelled, increasing the length and girth until they took 5 times the height of the average stallion. Spider-Man sidestepped the first tendril's attack as it slammed viciously to the ground where he previously stood, managing to leapfrog over the second once it stood for a swipe attempt. Each tendril hissed, as if frustrated with their inability to catch their elusive prey. Glancing to his side, Peter galloped through an opening at full speed, but his tendrils followed, ripping through the snow in their pursuit. Meanwhile, Shining Armor charged after Sombra, his horn glowing brighter as the gap between them narrowed. With a wicked smile, the black stallion lowered his crimson horn, firing a beam directly for his aggressor. However, Shining retaliated with a magical shot of his own. Both beams met in a collision, canceling each other out in a violent shockwave. The force sent the white stallion flying back through the snow, but he skidded to a stop. Stumper remained undeterred, having not budged an inch. Shining quickly rose back to his hose. One of the 4 tendrils broke from the group, choosing to attack him instead. Before any point he could react, Spider-Man, foot high through the air, delivered a powerful spin kick to the tip of the wayward tendril, knocking it to the ground with authority. Before he could land, another reached out, wrapping its way around the tiny stallion. With a crackling whip, it threw Peter across the vicinity until he finally crashed into the force field, sending waves of convulsions through the magic territory. Shaking his head, Peter pushed himself into the wall and dove into a free fall, speeding back into the fray. Shining quickly turned his attention to the trio of tendrils. Hey, Sombra, remember that trick that you did back in the 2-parter where you took over Shining's horn and imprisoned his magic? You know, that thing I keep telling people Sombra could totally do to Pegasi and Earth Ponies, but no one rather seems to want to believe me. You know, that really cool ability you showed off once. Here to do it again? Might help you win. Nope. Okay then. Shaking his head, Peter pushed himself in. Or he did this part. Like fallen oaks, the tendrils fell, causing small tendrils to shake with each landing. Summer's eyes widened, revealing his mild shock. He instantly fell into a glare, allowing his rage to take form. All 4 tendrils seeped into the ground, pushing back to join with the commander. Once they surrounded him, each poured through his armor into his body. They were shook in response, forcing Shining Armor and Spider-Man to hold their ground, to keep from losing balance. For long, Sombra slammed himself into the land and roared when a black mist exuded from his building. Oh, no, you don't! Spider-Man exclaimed, reaching his knapsack with great urgency. Mist surrounding Sombra continued to spread, threatening to consume everything within the force field. Before such a thing could occur, Spider-Man sifted from his knapsack shut, extended himself, revealing a small pink crystal heart in its gas. Hey, Sombra, from me to you, with love! You really need to work on your one-liners. Rearing back, Spider-Man threw the crystal towards the midst of darkness. Sombra watched the jewel near his position, smiling at the audacity of the young stallion. The shiny stepped forward with his horn glowing brightly, causing the seemingly harmless crystal to explode with a luminous ray of light. The smile on Sombra's face dissipated, along with the black mist that manifested from his body. He staggered, prepared to release a rebuttal spell. Something was amiss for the black stallion, like finding a way to repress his dark magic. What is the meaning of this? Sombra yelled before a hoof suddenly crashed to the side of his face. Managing below, the stallion attempted to use his magic for a second time, only to fail again. Spider-Man delivered an uppercut, cracking the underside of Sombra's muzzle. Dazed, the black stallion stumbled, managing to give his attacker a spiteful howl. What have you done to me? It's not what I did. It was what Princess Cadence has done. Spider-Man took a step backward and lowered his body. I like to call them mini crystal heart grenades. Sure. Why not? Take a precious object and turn it into small little bitty bits of ammo. Why not? It's not like there could have been cooler ways you could have done this. No. Go ahead. Do this. I don't care. Fill them with magic and they explode, releasing a light that has unique magical properties for the crystal heart. For any pony pure of heart, it's harmless. For some pony like you, it's the equivalent of flashbang with its always a disorientation. Leaping from the ground, Spider-Man brought his lower hose to his chest and thrust him forward. With a drop kick to the center of Sombra's face. The impact generated a powerful shockwave, enough to freeze snow from the ground into the air. Tossing a bullet, the stallion was launched into the temple, destroying what seems like several walls in the process. After a series of echoes, the crashing was eventually ceased over within. Spider-Man landed on his back, but using the strength of his legs, he was able to skip back to a vertical base. Shining tried to the center of the table. He must appear surprised. The prince smiled, patting him along the shoulder. That was good work. Seems your theory was spry on by the crystal's light. Spider-Man shook his head before peeking down a knapsack on his side. Don't thank me, thank your wife. She was the one able to recreate these little flashbangs. He patted the bag. Marcel the contents inside. Speaking of which, we only have 4 left. Think they'll be enough? Let's hope so. Shining proceeded to travel into the temple. He paused, trying to wait for his friend. It's time we finish the job. You ready? Nodding, Spider-Man joined Shining's side. Both Starings prepared to face the darkness. Not as individuals, but allies. Peter smiled under his mask. Time to kick some bad guy booty. Shining armor traveled ahead of Spider-Man through the dark, cold halls of the temple. His horn immediately light important enough to reveal the path instead. At first, following Sombra's trail was easy enough, thanks to the structure he left. Such as mass pillars, shattered masonry, as they began to reach the lower levels, a keener eye was needed to continue to hunt. Shining slowed to a halt, having reached the hall with 3 alternate paths. Shifting his gaze and light through each route, Stan paused once the traces of a black mist dissipated through the halls of the furthest right. This way, he whispered, proceeding through the hall with quiet steps. The corridor was long, leading to what seemed like an endless spiral of stairs. However, Shining could continue. He turned around and finding Spider-Man was blank, white gaze fixed on something overhead. What's wrong, Spider-Man? Instead of replying with words, Peter simply raised his hoof, pointing at the object that held his interest. Shining raised his brows as he hesitantly joined the smaller stallion's side. The moment he aimed his light toward the direction Peter faced, his eyes widened at the figure that stood before him. Fortunately, his nerves eased upon realizing the object was a stone statue. The shape and resemblance was uncanny, leaving for skepticism on both parts. Sharp fangs, soul-piercing eyes, wicked smile, and daunting figure were none other than now Sombra's, causing Peter to tilt his head to the side. What is this place? Spider-Man asked, shifting his gaze only to find another statue of Sombra standing behind Shining armor. Both stallions turned their attention to the hallway on the left, glancing at the sight of multiple statues bearing Sombra's image. Shaking his head, Spider-Man ran his hoof along through his unkempt mane. This isn't your average spooky temple. Feels more like a shrine. That's a pretty accurate guess, Shining replied, directing his light to the light in the ceiling, where a flaming zinnia stood before lowering, finding exact replicas on the floor panels. To an average pony, this was just a simple symbol. In the Shining armor, and those familiar with the Crystal Empire's history, it was a simple representation of an evil king's hypnotic gaze. Once the light from his horn dimmed slightly, Shining faced Peter with a stern expression in his royal blue irises. Long ago, during Sombra's rule as king, this temple was built in his honor by the locals. But once he began using dark power, this very place transformed into a shrine, where he could freely hone his newly possessed powers. I guess in his spare time, Sombra felt the need to inflate his ego. Spider-Man shrugged his shoulders. Can somebody say overcompensating? It took a moment to analyze the statues, each sculpted with a different pose. But his brow furrowed as his mind picked the traces of a polarizing pattern among the stones. One half-stared similarities to the pony they fought moments ago, particularly the venomous glare of sharp fangs. The other held traits that would classify a loving king, kneeling a warm smile and calm gaze. Though if I didn't know any better, I'd say Sombra might have been a decent pony once. Shining approached the statue Peter was referring to and nodded. History suggested he was very decent. Like I said, the temple was made in his honor before his fall from grace. Sombra was said to be a wise yet kind ruler, who did everything in his power to make certain the Crystal Empire and its inhabitants would flourish. Pausing, Shining shifted his gaze to a statue that stood directly in front of its previously acknowledged, this bearing a symbol to present-day Sombra. It was that same drive for power that turned Sombra into what he is today. He desperately wanted power and went through extreme lengths to achieve it. Those dark arts indeed made Sombra stronger. But he became selfish, arrogant, merciless, and power-hungry, even going so far as to attempt to overthrow Princess Celestia and Luna. When was in this very temple that he used the elements of harmony to seal Sombra away, also condemning him to that very cursed shadow you've read about. A classic case of power corrupts, and I guess there's still hope he'll listen to reason now? Spider-Man said, prompting Shiny to shake his head disapprovingly. At the same moment, he reached into his knapsack and retrieved 2 miniature crystal hearts inside, offering them to the taller stallion afterward. Since we know these work, it'll be a good idea for you to hang on half our ammo. Don't drop it. Remember, we've only got 4 left. Without a hint of hesitation, Shining Armor accepted the gift, placing both crystals carefully within a scarf. Thanks. Both stallions returned to their original route into the ascending spiral stairs. Before they would progress, Shining faced Spider-Man, not with a stern glare, but with a warm smile. He extended his huff. If we survive this, I'll buy you a drink. Grinning, Peter accepted the gesture, helping himself against Shining in a friendly manner. I tried drinking once. Never again. If you tell Twilight to stop waking me up before 7 every morning, that will even be better. Shining smiled. You tell Cadence to stop flirting with you and we have a deal. She doesn't do it on purpose. He paused, rolling his eyes. But I know her signs. Seriously? Spider-Man hesitantly murmured, perplexed with the idea of a princess flirting with somebody so average. Unfortunately, without giving him a chance to revel in the moment, a blaring alarm went off in Peter's head, causing the stallion to snap his head in the direction of the disturbance. The statues in the other hall came to life, ripping their host free from the ground while others did the same from the walls. Eventually, every statue of Sombra stood in the hall. The previously lifeless stone eyes now filled to the brim with that malicious black mist. Shiny's brow furrowed at the sorcery before him. Spider-Man tilted his head to the side out of curiosity, only to sharply shift his gaze at the thrown spear that missed his head by a few inches. The statues began to trot in direction, their speed suddenly increasing from a slow, group trot to a howling, cowboy stampede. Spider-Man shifted his gaze between the Sombra statues and the ascending staircase. I'm all for surviving, but these guys seem completely against that notion. So what do you say, Shining? Fight or flight? Hallway's pretty narrow. Get behind me. Shining quickly retorted, prompting Peter to follow in his instruction. Inhaling deeply, he fired a beam of concentrated energy at the herd, while his shield formed at the last moment, canceling out Shiny's magic before it could connect. He repeated the process, only for the shield to continuously absorb his magic. Shining gritted his teeth and cursed under his breath. Blast it! There's too much concentrated magic for me to break through with them grouped together. We need to fall back and separate them. You know, I'm so glad that I'm reading this fanfic based on a show that's all about badass females and females being awesome and all about female empowerment, and all that. Only to watch 2 males proceed to hog all the action. I am just so glad that this fic has given me that. I mean, for the longest time, I thought I was just here reading about awesome girls, but instead, I'm reading a story that is predominantly male-dominated. Thank you so much, story. Shiny turned to gallop back up the stairs. Spider-Man, with a swift kick, smashed the bottom of a stone pillar next to his door, causing the rubble to fall across the path. Once he finally caught up with Shining Armor, the white stallion increased his speed, forcing Peter to do the same. According to legend, yes, Sombra used to train in the ritual chamber. It's said to be in the basement. If we're lucky, that's where we should find him. Spider-Man's ears perked at the sound of rumbling echoed from behind, no doubt belonging to their pursuers. That's easy. He'll be waiting for us. Fortunately, Peter found a way to remain positive. I have another idea. That way, we'll be ready for whatever he throws at us. Oh, and I thought I repeated myself once or twice. Before Spider-Man could go over the details of his device tactic, the duo reached the bottom of the stairs. However, they skidded to an abrupt halt, finding the area filled with dozens of more Sombra statues. For a moment, they contemplated backtracking through the previous route. But then the pursuers galloped from the stairs. Suddenly, a black mist rose from the ground and spread across the door, cutting off the only visible escape route. The stone legion quickly spread throughout the room, eventually surrounding both stallions at every possible angle. Shining his horn glowed with vanity as he took a defensive stance. Looks like Sombra had a plan of his own. Once the statues touched their position, Spider-Man let out a devil-like groan. Applesauce! Cadence continued to pace throughout the throne room, occasionally taking a moment to observe the activities of the crystal ball. Although shining armor and Pierre were gone for a few hours, Shashin began to take hold of the alicorn, evident by the dark circles under her eyes. Sombra's power was nearly restored, and it took a great deal of her magic to keep the barrier intact. Fortunately, due to her weakening state, Zacchaeus could not track Shining's movements inside the temple, and knowing the condition of her husband's health was mentally exhausting in its own right. Placing her hope against the crystal ball, Keynes closed her eyes and took a slow, winded breath.
Please hurry. You two don't have much time.
Shining stepped to the side, causing one of the statues to miss in a ramming attempt, and immediately followed up by blasting the same attacker in the back with a magical bolt. Its explosive spread enough to destroy several others in the vicinity. Leaping through the air, Spider-Man delivered a diving kick, reducing a statue to rubble, but another rose from behind, attempting to grasp the stallion with open hooves. However, Spider-Man ducked at the last moment, spun around with his hoof held high, and slanted over the stone's head, smashing it to pieces. Suddenly, an idea came to mind, prompting Spider-Man to swiftly count the number of enemies in the room, dialing any attacks that came in his direction. On some of his tasks, he leaped high in the air before landing on the shoulders of one of the statues. Pushing off his weight, Spider-Man managed to repeat the process several times, bounding from one statue to another until he reached the center of the swarm. Two statues attempted to lunge at the stallion, but Spider-Man reached back, grabbed the nearest enemy by the head, and threw him into his own comrade, shattering both instantly. Before the others could follow suit, Pierre extended his hose and fired strands of webbing into the pair of statues, protecting his head, avoiding the grasp of another statue. He quickly retaliated by launching several more strands of webbing, this onto other statues, so it was moving faster than the eye could see. Spider-Man lashed webbing into each statue of the room, maintaining a sturdy grip in each strand. Stealing a glance overhead, Spider-Man jumped as high as he could and perched himself on the ceiling. Before the statues could react, Spider-Man shifted his momentum and swung him to the ceiling, smashing the stone statues apart. However, he was not done. Not relinquishing his webbing, Peter pulled away to his chest, and turned managing to lift the gathering statues several hoof lengths from the ground. Psychard, shining armor could not hide his astonishment at this feat of strength. When the white stallion shook his head, the late realized Ethan quickly aimed his horn at the large wad of webbing and enemies who were unable to defend themselves. Gritting his teeth, Shining gathered as much magical energy as he could. The moment the tip of his horn glowed with bright light, rapidly fired countless bolts of energy, reminiscent of a turret. Each beam landed perfectly on a target, destroying every statue upon contact. Tons of stones flew off in every direction. Spider-Man felt a wave of strands drastically decreased by the second he peeked down, just finding only piles of rubble beneath of his catch. That's when Pierre prepared to drop to the floor. His vast lens widened the multiple strands of black mist that rose from the statue's shattered remains. But instead of reforming, they retreated, as if being sucked under the closed door on the other side of the room by a vacuum. "He's behind that door! Come on!" Shining yelled, gobbling after a trail of mist. Dying, Spider-Man followed, freeing himself from the ceiling and falling into a graceful web swing. He approached the door with great speed, but instead of stopping at any fasten, Pierre released his webbing and extended his lower hooves, delivering a kick to the once sound barricade. The stone wall caved in and fell forward, cracking it before it eventually crumbled under the force of Spider-Man's collision. "Knock, knock!" Pierre yelled, raising his hose over his head. Shining entered the room shortly after, stopping by his friend's side. The room was vast, larger than any other in the temple by a large margin. Despite this, Sombra was easy to spot, having taken a seat in the center of the area with his head lowered and eyes closed. A sword sat by his side, the tip of the blade embedded in the ground. The moment Sombra's eyes opened, the blade magically rose, imitating a dark aura of corruption, his sickly green, purple, and black energy trailing from his hilt. Guys, this fight is cool and all, but, does it have a point?" Green Ember shimmered at the corners of his eyes. Tremors coursed through the room, forcing both stallions to focus on keeping their balance. Finally, the black mist began to flow from Sombra's body, filling the room from perpetual darkness. Fortunately, Shining was able to react, forming a shield around himself and Pierre before the mist could consume them both. The entire vicinity fell into a black void. The effects of dark magic took center stage, affecting his plane reality. Shining dropped the shield, now he's widened a drastic change of scenery. Large pieces of the temple lay scattered around him, distorted, but to make matters worse, everything seemed to be floating in midair, with only darkness keeping them from drifting far. Spider-Man's reaction was more out of nostalgia than fear. The entire room's condition was similar to the distorted area Mysterio created when he acquired the Tablet of Order and Chaos. It's like then, Sombra stood at the center of the small pillar, but he's still in his magical grip, 4 massive tendrils reaching out of his back. You will not stop me. The Crystal Empire is my kingdom. Sombra roared, voice echoing across the airways. The sword lowered, pointing directly at the pair on the opposite side. Stand down and kneel! Or perish by my hoof. What say you? Shining Huff. Stop stalling, you coward. You already know our answer. Standing his hoof, Spider-Man shook his head disapprovingly. Just surrender. We don't need to drag this out any further. His voice deepened, taking a deeper, more serious tone. If you truly want to be the leader you once were, stop what you were doing and join everybody in a time of peace. Spider-Man brought his hoof down, firmly but not fiercely. It's never too late to change. Shining brought his hoof over Peter's shoulder, all the while keeping a steely gaze there on Sombra. It's truly commendable what you're trying to do, but it's too late for that. Sombra's only a shadow of who and what he used to be, he whispered, promptly Peter to simply give an affirming nod and took defensive stance. Shining's horn glowed. Let's end this so we can get back to our girls! You have the audacity to lecture me, child. Sombra's voice lowered, disgust readily apparent. Baring his fangs, he stared at his venomous gaze on the strangely guarded pony that spoke freely to his better. At the same moment, Sombra's body had faded, melting into surrounding darkness. But before any pony could react, it disappeared just as a hoof length behind Shining, and the treacherous underling by his side. In that very instant, tendrils of Sombra's back wrapped around his body and spun out on a lash, creating a whirlwind of black energy that sent both stallions flying in separate directions. You will suffer 1,000-fold for your insolence. Shining's body spun violently before it crashed into the nearest platform, creating a dust cloud upon impact. Spider-Man launched a strand of webbing in mid-flight, latching it onto a nearby column. Once his momentum slowed, Peter flipped from his strand and landed perfectly on all 4 hooves onto a floating piece of rubble. However, in response to his spider sense, he peeked up and found Sombra directly overhead. Or rather, his sword falling with malefic intent. Spider-Man leaped out of his harm's way at the last moment, causing Sombra to slice the stone cleanly in half instead of his original target. But the dark being immediately followed up, sending all 4 tendrils at once. Peter's eyes widened underneath his mask. The outside world seemingly slowed due to his spider sense, but because of his awkward position in midair, he could only watch as the tendrils swarmed from 4 angles, one from the front, 2 from the side, and last one from behind. Yet, perhaps out of instinct, his horn glowed in response, not in the usual crystal white energy, but vibrant yellow color instead. The spider's main body disappeared in a flash, masking the color of his horn, causing the tendrils to inadvertently slam into each other. Halfway across the void, Spider-Man reappeared, screaming as he pummeled to the side of the pillar. What the heck? Totally didn't mean that! Raider murmured, prying himself from the stone. He looked around, holding his photos across his eyes, but his sight landed on the appendage on his forehead. For that matter, it continued to glow. My spider sense. Is my magic in tune with it? Help! The tendril suddenly shot out from underneath Spider-Man's body, colliding with his midsection. So when left his lungs, Peter was launched, smashing through 3 stone pillars before colliding with a column. A massive dust cloud rose from the impact. The Sombra did not let up. Charging with his sword raised high, however, he got close in on Spider-Man's position. A crystal heart fell between the two, erupting with a bright flash of light. The black mist, as well as the tendrils, retreated from his body. The disoriented Sombra threw his hooves over his eyes in a futile attempt to shield them. Suddenly, a magical bolt sped through the airways, striking Sombra squarely in the back. Howling in pain, he turned around, only to be shot directly in the face. The force knocked Sombra's head back and sent him plummeting into the crash of the platform where Shining Armor stood. Melissa's intent filled the black of Stallion's eyes as he forced himself from the ground. At the moment he lunged forward to attack, Shining shot his leg, forcing the enemy to kneel against his will. Shining continued with the assault, literally pounding Sombra into the ground with countless magical bolts, but the tendril emerged from behind and struck the stallion across the face, knocking his hat, scarf, and crystal heart from his position. Shaking the cobwebs from his head, Shining reached out to the retrieved crystal, but the tendril snatched it away, throwing it a few hundred feet across the room until it shattered against the wall. In the same moment, a second tendril wrapped around Shining's neck and body, roughly pinning him to the floor. Sombra stepped forward, holding his sword directly over his enemy's back. Did you really think you could defeat me with little trinkets, you ignorant fool? Spider-Man shot a strand of webbing out, latched onto the blade, and pulled it from Sombra's grasp before he could attempt to finish Shining Armor off. Sure, stopped in an attempt to have a better hook blade block. See if I care. Leaping from the platform, Spider-Man landed between both stallions, attempting to throw a wide kick at the enemy. But Spider-Man's attack blazed through Sombra's body, like a hoof waving through a puff of smoke. All three tendrils rose and attacked Peter simultaneously, but the fourth remained still, keeping Shining pinned to the floor. As he cartwheeled, Spider-Man managed to retrieve one of the crystal hearts. One of the tendrils closed in from the side, but Peter lowered his body almost to the point where he lay flat on the ground and managed to avoid the blow. The second struck from above, forcing Spider-Man to leap to the side. However, the third tendril spread through the air as if it anticipated the stallion's movements. But Peter, using his gifted flexibility, contorted his body at the precise angle and perfectly dodged Sombra's attack. Fortunately, due to the speed the maneuver was performed, Spider-Man lost his knapsack, but he paid it no mind, buzzing forward to keep the pressure on the Black Stallion. With a quick yet strong flick of his hoof, Peter tossed his crystal heart in Sombra's direction. Shining, despite his compromising persistence, focused his energy, igniting the makeshift weapon. Sombra clutched his eyes and roared in pain, light's effect once again stripping his protectors away from blinding him. However, before the last of his tendrils could disappear, he lifted Shining Armor from the ground and flung it to the side, leaving him to fall from a perilous height. Without so much as a second thought, Spider-Man drove after Shining, forgetting about Sombra and the only remaining crystal heart. Speeding through the air, Peter caught up with the White Stallion. Throwing Shining saw a large frame over his shoulder, Spider-Man extended himself and fired a strand of webbing to the underside of a platform, using the momentum to swing into a graceful landing onto the nearest floating stone. After he laid him down gently, Peter placed himself over Shining's shoulder out of concern. The stallion shook his head with a look of dismay filled his eyes. I'm sorry. You could have finished Sombra, but I... Spider-Man chuckled, cutting off Shining's apology. Don't worry, we can still take him. Sliding himself under his limb, Peter helped his friend from the ground, earning a concerned yet genuine smile in return. However, once an important realization came to mind, he shifted his gaze to the platform Sombra stood on. Despite the distance between the positions, Spider-Man's ears perked at an ominous sound of shattered glass. Knowing the fate of the last minutes of Crystal Heart, suddenly, large banks of black mist followed around Sombra's platform, confirming Peter's fear. Okay, I have a confession to make, Peter murmured, attempting to ignore the throbs coursing through his cranium. Spider Sense was only reacting to the heightened level of danger that was brewing above. Shining Armor glared into the mist cloud, scoffing once it took form of a tornado. I know. Sombra destroyed my crystal heart, too. Spider-Man shook his head. No, it's not that. It's worse. How so? I think I'm pregnant. Spider-Man suggested inanely, earning a baffled expression from Shining Armor. After an awkward silence occurred between the pair, Peter straightened himself and nodded. Oh, and Twilight's the father. Shaking his head, Shining attempted to make sense of Peter's babble, but failed, quickly growing frustrated. Shut up! The tornado grew in diameter as well as strength. Managing to stuck in the nearby columns and pillars, Spider-Man threw Shining Armor over his shoulder and proceeded to bound from one platform to whatever footing he could find, creating as much distance between himself and the magically generated storm. After a few moments, the entire structure of the temple gave way, as well as breaking in and succumbing to the tornado's pressure. When Spider-Man landed on the ground, Shining forced himself from Peter's grasp, planted his toes, and created a small shield around its area, protecting himself, his friend, and what little solid ground remained. Chunks of stone continued to fly into the vortex as the link grew stronger and stronger. And suddenly, a familiar pair of crimson and green eyes emerged, glaring at the two ponies standing within a shield. Suddenly, a faint smile appeared underneath, forming the face of Sombra. You have limitless potential, little one, but your sentimentality makes you weak, Sombra roared, his voice reminiscent of the booming sound of thunder. His eyes glowed ever brighter. Sombra's crimson horn continued to release the black mist, thus adding more strength to the surrounding tornado. The very foundation of the temple dissolved, leaving a shrine of a distant memory in an empty crater. I am power incarnate. Cower before your king's might. You! Sombra's words fell into his throat, defounding sight. For reasons unknown, Spider-Man calmly stepped forward, banning the safety of the shield to Crystal Empire's prince held firmly. Even Sonny Arrow was taken aback by this irrational cause of action, evident by his slack-jawed expression. Shifting his blank gaze skyward, Spider-Man watched as Kane's barrier's walls began to crack, slowly succumbing to Sombra's power. But instead of heeding Shining's commands to fall back into his shield, Peter lowered his body and inhaled deeply, pushing a great deal of focus into his hooves and legs. While Sombra's shock remained intact, frustration began to take him hold. The flames in his eyes grew, nearly reaching the height of his horn. The earth shook, splitting apart in various regions, but despite the ungodly calamity forming around him, Spider-Man's posture remained steadfast, unyielding to the world that demanded him to do otherwise. As the wind whipped his tail about, Peter slowly directed his gaze to meet Sombra's, silently displaying his defiance. "Why?" Sombra paused, grinding his fangs to the core. "Will you not kneel?" Pointing his hook to the sky. "Because you're a fool who abuses his powers. Those with power have the duty to use it responsibly." Suddenly, to the greatness of his ability, Peter jumped, soaring several meters before the strong winds of the tornado took hold and aided his flight. Extending his hub, Spider-Man fired a strapping webbing into the store and swiftly pulled himself into it, flipping into a standing position. "Here I come!" Sombra's horn glowed, prompting dark magical energy to envelop several massive chunks of debris and levitate near his position. "You still lecture me?" Rapid suggested. He sought the collection of stones and columns in Spider-Man's direction. "You are not worthy to speak down to me." A large stone was the first to reach his target. Spider-Man leapfrogged over it. Before a column collided with his frame, he managed to flip out of his path. As another stone quickly approached, Peter saw a strand hovering both foes onto it. With a swift jerk, he threw himself inches over the obstacle. Suddenly, 6 pillars hovered nearby, each firing at the stallion like a series of Hart's arrows. Spider-Man jumped onto the side of the nearest one, sprung to the next, and repeated the process until he landed on the last. However, just as he jumped forward, Peter turned and lanced a strand of webbing onto the bottom of the column. He started not to sever his line. Spider-Man faced Sombra and used his free hook to fire a second strand to the tip of the house-sized boulder. Once the second strand reached its limit, it recoiled, slingshotting the stallion with the speed of a bullet. Spider-Man used the momentum to do the same with the column in his possession, jetting it over his shoulder. Our stun cut through the wind currents like a knife cutting through butter. It collided with the crimson horn at the height of the tornado, staring on impact. Sombra's mouth shot open, releasing a roar of agony as cracks formed around his horn. In response, the strength of the tornado significantly diminished, causing all the airborne debris to succumb to the effects of gravity and plummet instantly. The black mist retreated, rushing back at Sombra's body before he too fell from the sky. Unfortunately for the Crust King, Spider-Man bounded from his star and tackled the black stallion out of midair, placing his body underneath his at the last moment to lessen the impact of the fall. However, Peter quickly tossed Sombra to the side, flipping back to a vertical base. As well as the vertical and quadruple could be anyway. Spider-Man stood over him. Seemingly unaffected from the fall he withstood, Sombra gritted his teeth and slammed his eyes shut, trying his best to tune out the pain coursing through his horn. Once again, his intentions were thwarted. Worse yet, a nameless, insignificant pony actually hurt this better. Sombra's eyes narrowed on the energy of his horn. "How dare you?" he whispered, slamming his hoof into the ground. Snarling, he aimed his horn at Spider-Man, determined to blast the cretin into oblivion. But his pain reached the fever prince, canceling it out as magic before it could manifest. Sombra yelled, attempting to force himself into a standing position. The strength of his limbs gave out, leaving the proud king to prostrate himself before some pony that should have been in his role. "How dare you?" Once the last of the debris fell from the sky, Shining Armor dropped his shield, trotted over to Peter's side, and shoved the young stallion. "You crazy? What were you thinking? You could have got yourself killed!" Spider-Man shook his head. "Sorry about that. Sombra's horn was a big red target." He sent his gaze back to the grounded king. "Even though he studied the dark arts, he's still a unicorn with an obvious weakness. No horn, no magic." Charles continued to pulsate for Sombra's cranium. Despite his immense pain, he managed to hold a smile. "It's only a small victory. You have no means to rid my presence. By the time you find one, I will already recovered. You do not wish to stand against me again." "You're right. I don't want to fight you again. Sir Princess Keynes is exhausted. And honestly, I'm sick of your high and mighty attitude." Spider-Man firmly stated, Setting his balance so he stood right up on two hooves. Tracing a hoof down his midsection, Peter pulled an upper portion of his costume up, so feeling so his stomach. Sombra's brow furrowed at Spider-Man's accents, but his eyes grew wide saucers as the stallion retrieved a miniature crystal heart from a hidden pocket in his costume. So I think somebody put you out. Shaking his head in disbelief, Sombra could only watch heavily as Spider-Man approached him with the crystal. How is that possible? You say you only possess 4 of those gems! Ah, so you were eavesdropping. In my line of work, it's always a good idea to have a backup plan, in case things go south. Peter stated, stopping once he was only inches away from Sombra. When I saw the crystal hearts work, I figured you would devise a way to rid us of our supply. I did tell Shiny, but we actually had 5 crystal hearts when I told him we only had 4. Guess he'd say I wanted a little insurance. Shiny closed his eyes and smirked. So that was your plan, you crafty dog. Sombra lowered his head, hiding his shame from the one who bested him in every way imaginable. Make matters worse, with his magic there was no way he could resist. Somehow he's so young with this much potential, and the credentials to be one of the greatest warriors in existence. He not only strength and skill, but wit to outmatch his opponent. Instantly, Sombra raised his head to meet with Spider-Man's gaze, and eventually gave the young stallion a respectful nod. So, what will you do? Sombra calmly asked, in full defeat, unable to force himself to the ground. It depends on your choice, Spider-Man stated, staring at Glass's shining armor. Once the stallion gave him a affirming nod, Peter turned back to Sombra. You could either come back willing with us to stand trial, or we could put you down here right now. Shaking his head, Spider-Man's voice fell to a desolate tone. Please, it's not too late for you to change. Scoffing, Sombra spat at the ground. Save your pity. I'll gladly accept defeat by your host, but I'd rather die than grovel before wretched matches. Spider-Man's head fell on the satin lip. Okay, I guess. I understand. You sure? Finish what you started. I have no regrets. His face is shining. Well? Once Shiny's horn began to glow, the crystal heart married its intensity. Instead of exploding a ball of light, it hovered over Sombra's prone frame and maintained that position, spinning gently. Black Stallion's body began to dissolve, like grains of sand at the mercy of the wind. His presence became seated to the crystals, as if the heart was absorbing him too. Slowly but surely, Sombra's form became transparent. Dean faded the crystal, unsteadily darkened to black. The crystal heart replicas work in another way too, Spider-Man said, bringing Gombra's sage in his direction. Set the properties to the right polarity, and the light of the crystal heart can be used to weigh and seal away evil. He paused, pointing himself at the damaged appendage on Sombra's forehead, which is why I also targeted your horn and disabled your magic. Gives us time to seal you away long enough for Celestia to find a stronger means to keep you in prison. Sombra huffed, disgusted with his fate. Well played, young one. The last of his physical being disappeared from sight. The sounds of his voice could be heard clearly. You are a worthy adversary, but when I am free, do not think that means I will not make you suffer in ways you can only imagine. Sombra completely vanished into the crystal heart, prompting the jewel to transform into a shade of jet black. But it was a reflective surface, its crimson gaze appeared, glaring intently at Spider-Man. It eventually faded away, but not before giving one final warning. We will meet again. Finally, Sombra grew mute. His eyes closed, allowing his presence to completely fade into the crystal. Spider-Man reached out, grasping the jewel before it could fall to the ground. Shining Armor placed his hoof on the young stallion's shoulder, giving him the warmest smile he could mutter. Peter simply nodded, shifting his gaze back to the crystal heart. Deep down, Parker knew there was a chance Sombra's final words would come true, but he accepted, knowing Spider-Man would be there to stop him again. 22 days remain. Peter still had his gaze fixed on the marble floor of Camelot Castle. The moment he and Shining Armor returned to the Crystal Empire, Peter decided to immediately take the next train for Camelot. Figuring it was best to deliver Sombra to Princess Celestia as soon as possible. Deep down, it was an excuse to miss the citywide celebration Cadence had planned to throw in Spider-Man's honor. Considering Cadence was suffering from a hangover due to her excessive use of magic, it was better for the princess to follow her husband's advice and rest for the evening. While Peter was grateful for the appreciation the equestrians showed him, it was clear he had no idea how to gracefully accept that feeling, considering how long he had to deal with the exact opposite treatment on Earth. Having already given the crystal heart containing Sombra to Celestia, Pierre, biding his time while she took the needed precautions to ensure the Karate King's imprisonment was firm but fair. Pierre shook his head and smiled. At the end of the day, every pony was saved. The villain was in custody, and Twilight's big brother finally gave his sister Stallion his golden seal of approval. Although life had a horrible tendency to kick him while he's down, Pierre couldn't help but feel happy with his accomplishments for the day. Pierre? Princess Celestia called out, bringing the stallion from his daydream. I cannot thank you enough for your heroism. I was a few hoof lengths away, so he paused and bowed her head out of respect. Truly a job well done. Scratching the back of his head, Pierre chuckled nervously. It's nothing, really. I'm just happy to help. Shrugging his shoulders, the stallion regained composure. Did you have any problems with Sombra? Princess Celestia shook her head, maintaining a warm smile on her face. None whatsoever. Luna is transferring him to a covered facility for a chance of rehabilitation. Since you destroyed his horn, Sombra has no means which to use his dark magic. Trust me, he'll be quiet. The violet iris shifted to the right, widening for a moment, and Celestia's smile only grew in brightness. There's another matter I need to address, Pierre. It's time you met Equestria's newest princess. She's quite eager to meet you. Another princess? Pierre tilted his head, sighed, before laughing depressively. I'm honored, but why would you want to meet with Pierre? A feminine voice called out from the room, interrupting his dying question. However, his voice Pierre knew too well, sweet tone impossible to forget. He slowly turned around, only for a pair of hose to wrap around his neck at the same moment. But his instincts kicked in, dying to return to the embrace in full, sighing the mare's head, particularly her violet mane, pressed against Pierre's cheek. A fresh scent filled his senses, reminding him of the crisp atmosphere of Ponyville. Slowly, both ponies pulled away, stared at glances at each other. Handless little eyes meeting with violet orbs, where their lips synced, locking passionately. Very depleted, the mare hesitantly broke the kiss, but her host remained intertwined around her stallion's neck. I'm sorry I couldn't see you out. Sally's voice dropped to a whisper, was quivering as he struggled to suppress herself. When I heard you went after Sombra, I... She placed her forehead against his, giggling at the hint of contact from her horns grazed along her stallions. I was so worried. I'm just so happy to see you safe. I'm just happy to see you, period. Pierre replied, pressing his lips against his girlfriend's muzzle. Instant sensing coursed through her body. Chills tingled along her spine, and Twilight felt her mind grow fuzzy. She melted his active expression. Something sprung to life from the mare's back, raising several inches from her body. Pierre's eyes shot open at the bizarre sight and stumbled back, nearly losing his balance in the process. Twilight, you have... Twilight's cheeks flushed to a sea of pink. She turned, smiled sleeplessly at her body teens. Wings? Yes. Princess Celestia gave me the push I needed to finalize the spell that gave me these, so I'm still getting used to them myself. Pierre's eyes widened. The answer standing before him, but his mind struggled to register her facts. Then, the new princess is... Reaching down, Twilight placed both her hooves on one's Pierre's and smiled sweetly.